Sepubus, neither Malaysia nor Singapore is cold, and our countries have never been at war. We did come close before though. But now, it looks like things have changed because Keluar Sekejap and the PAP are in a cold war. You might remember that screenshot that I sent to KJ just the other day saying that maybe he shouldn't start a diplomatic incident, but well, here we are. It is August of 2025 and we are full on in a diplomatic incident. Sepubus, you might remember the podcast drama from the other day between PAP and Keluar Sekejap, meaning Khairy and Shahril. One side not happy with the other side, like Romeo and Juliet, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, star-crossed lovers never to unite again. Here he is, our blue-eyed boy, saying that the PAP is immature and juvenile, and he declares that, I think I have a lot of friends there, but PAP needs to grow up. Apparently KJ wanted to have a Singapore tour featuring KS, but then the whole thing just made him so turned off that he decided not to do it, even as he notes that it's the view of the ruling party, and until PAP stops being juvenile on this issue, the duo won't come to Singapore as part of their podcast live shows. Cause apparently, if they do it, it's not gonna seem natural because it's gonna seem like, oh, they were interfered with, they were compromised. And now CNA is scrambling and asking the PAP for a comment. So yeah, I guess they're in a cold war right now. And Malaysia and Singapore look forward to the next step in this epic rap battle. How fortunate that your Sepup actually met KJ and asked about it.
Do you not ironically feel that the PAP was being juvenile? And what would you want from the PAP to demonstrate maturity, as it were? And as a second question, as a follow-up, as far as the social objective, what do you feel that our podcasting scene, with you at the lead at the moment, can contribute towards the world as a whole? Thank you.
And here's what he answered.
The first question was, Victor, was from, just to provide some context. So recently, Shahril and I have a small podcast called Keluar Sekejap. Talks about politics every week, and we invite guests from time to time. And we invited this guy called Pritam Singh recently. He's the leader of the opposition in Singapore. He asked to come on. We didn't invite him.
Whoa. Now this changes everything because now it's clear that Pritam Singh asked to come onto the podcast.
And for the record, I have invited Lawrence Wong, the Prime Minister of Singapore. I invited him first. I invited him when we became PM. I sent him a message saying that, it would be great if you could come. And of course, he hasn't yet. So Pritam came on, and it was his first extensive interview since the Singapore general election. Why he came on us first and not a Singapore podcast or not on CNA or Straits Times, whatever it is, that's for him to answer. But what annoyed me was the suggestion by the PAP, which is Singapore's ruling party, that for some reason that podcast appearance was almost, the basic assertion was that it's interference or meddling in the internal political affairs of Singapore, and that politics should stop at the water's edge. That means you can't talk about Singapore politics here, and they should not talk about, by extension, they shouldn't speak about Malaysian politics over there, which I think is absolutely rubbish. First of all, they speak about everyone else but themselves. Singapore. I mean, they can talk about everyone else but themselves. And I gave the example where I've been interviewed countless times by the Straits Times Singapore, by Channel News Asia, about Malaysian politics. And I also gave the example that I'm a senior visiting fellow of the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies in Singapore. And all I'm asked about is Malaysian politics. I write about Malaysian politics. In fact, they pay me to write about Malaysian politics. So I find it extremely immature. That's why I said PAP should grow up. Because here you are, and in many other aspects, we respect Singapore. It's just, it's this industrialized, modern country. It's technologically driven, future-proof. They're proud about this. But when it comes to politics, they've not even left kindergarten yet. So, I think, probably can't go to Singapore anymore after this. But, hey.
Sorry, KJ.
I mean, and I have friends, people in the Singapore cabinet, including Lawrence. They're people that I've known for many, many years. People are the counterparts, people that I've known even socially. But I feel that this hang-up about, Malaysia and other countries, especially Malaysia, shouldn't talk about our politics because it's national security. I think that's rubbish. And I think, they really need to make sure that their politics reaches first world standards, not just their economy and their infrastructure.
Truly amazing. And there you go. That's the story of how ya boy gets KJ banned from Singapore. If you think that this is kind of dumb, yeah. I mean, I will say that it was a cheap shot lah. I mean, of all the different things that you could possibly bring down Pritam Singh for, if you wanted to bring down Pritam Singh, I somehow feel that a podcast is maybe a 5th to 10th percentile thing. Like, it's not one of the top things that I would actually try to bring a leader of the opposition down on. I mean, it seems to me, if I can say it, extraordinarily petty. I discovered this on Calvin Cheng's page where I saw a lot of PAP supporters coming out and basically accusing Khairy and Shahril of being UMNO nationalists, plants, talking about context here, there and everywhere. But when you ask them for timestamps that are problematic or parts of the transcript that have issues, not a single person could actually point out anything. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with supporting the PAP. Majority of Singaporeans support the PAP. I accept, understand, respect that. It's Singaporean politics, that's none of my business. But it seems strange to me that people were literally just going out, not even paying attention to the evidence of their senses, and just completely rejecting all the content that was actually discussed, which they would have been able to see if they had actually just watched the podcast themselves. I mean, let's be real, the issues that the PAP raised are completely valid issues. It's completely valid to be freaked out about people mixing politics and religion together in your society. We see the train wreck that is Malaysia. It is also a valid concern to be worried about foreign interference. But when I think about this whole situation, I just think that it's extraordinarily weird to crucify Pritam over these issues instead of targeting them directly and giving them the attention that they actually need. For example, you already know about your main problems, which are foreign interference and mixing race, religion and politics. And you already know who are the main actors from PAS, Sukri Omar, Iskandar Abdul Samad. In Australia, your ISA detainee Zainal or Zulfikar Sharif, and hiding in Malaysia, Nur Daros, as he gets past the fact that he has no Asatiza recognition and teaches Islamic mental health. Whatever that means. It just really seems weird to me that they are criticizing or crucifying Pritam Singh over this and even bringing in KJ and Shahril when it really isn't that complex. We thought you were interesting. You said you were interested. You are a notable person. We have no reason to reject you. It was good, great, Malaysians, Singaporeans, the whole world loved it. No problem. I mean, sure, maybe he invited himself to get on the podcast, but I feel like that's really not a major issue, at least in relation to some of the actual other issues that were on hand. And I think that this was a very crude way of targeting your LO that PAP could have chosen not to do and should have chosen not to do. Instead, here you are making a mountain out of a molehill, insulting people you have all the reason to maintain good relations with, and that you actually have a working relationship with, and not actually addressing your real problem. Like, come on guys, if you wanna really deal with these issues, then send a request to the Malaysian government to extradite Nur Daros over to Singapore and send him into ISA lockup. Extradite Sukri Omar and Iskandar Abdul Samad as well, we don't want them. Heck, ask Australia to extradite Zulfikar Sharif as well, so he can start radicalizing people like this guy over here who continually shares these videos while living in Malaysia and who should probably be considered as a security threat as well. And then maybe after actually having a conversation with Pritam Singh one-on-one like most normal human beings do, then you can do something truly amazing, a commission of inquiry. So in Malaysia, we will call this a royal commission of inquiry, but even if you don't have royalty, you can still have a commission of inquiry into the race and religion mixing with politics issue. Call it the Presidential Republic Commission of Inquiry or something like that. Investigate, understand, go deep into comprehending why it is that race and religion were an issue in your last general election and why it is that this is happening donkey years after independence and as you're going into SG60. That would be so much more productive than just dog whistling and making this unfortunate attempt to bring down Pritam before Parliament even begins to sit. I mean, what specifically should you do? I don't know, but literally almost anything would be better than going out and then screaming about a podcast for crying out loud. I mean, I said a version of this on Calvin Cheng's page, but I'm gonna repeat it here. Singapore is not in a position of weakness. You can go ahead and mete out that perpetual class struggle thing, and I'm sure that is true that unity is existential, but if you really have the culture, the intellect, the society building skills that your founding fathers inculcated into the very fabric of Singaporean society, then I think that now could be a good time not only to test it, but to strengthen it. Rather than try to shut down legitimate conversations and fair comment, you could actually help to inspire a lot more of it. And it's not like this sort of dialogue doesn't exist. As KJ points out, Straits Times, CNA interview him all the time and often about Malaysian politics. And that shows that people just have a natural inclination and a want to figure out about what's happening across the border as part of wanting to understand what happens not only domestically but also internationally. I mean, Lee Kuan Yew once said that he was planning for 1,000 years.
And believe you me, the next 1,000 years, we will be here.
But how are you going to even last for 10 if your mindset is so that you think that this specific issue should be nannied in preference to actually addressing the issues, which you precisely can because you have a very strong mandate right now? I'm sure you have an extraordinarily high hit rate, but what you're going to build for the next 1,000 years is a society of people running around like Hitler's chickens and sad children, trying to nanny, protect, and band-aid one another because you cannot deal with these issues. You know, at the end of the Patir piece, the PAP says, does Mr. Singh truly believe in these fundamental principles, meaning don't mix race and religion with politics, Singaporean politics are only for Singaporeans to decide, or are these principles conveniently applied only when politically expedient? To that I say, to the PAP, would you criticize a podcast under normal circumstances, or are you criticizing this one just because it is politically expedient? I prefer not to accuse you of hypocrisy, but why is Straits Times and CNA fair comment, but then appearing on Keluar Sekejap is suddenly foreign interference, when it happens to benefit the PAP? Look, I totally get it that you have these issues that you care about, and again my advice is that you target those much more directly. I also acknowledge that you have a local podcasting scene, lots of talented podcasters out there, and to that I say, well, conversations that we have across borders are important. You already know that, and you already make it happen through your local media, CNA and Straits Times, which I think are fantastic by the way. But I think you can do better than that. Freedom of speech is not unlimited, but having good conversations about our different systems while being respectful and mindful of the differences between our societies, I think is both beneficial and meaningful, and also helps us to train our societies to become better in the long run in ways that I think are manageable by both the frameworks of Malaysia and Singapore. I learn from your leaders extensively, and I think most people who watch this channel know this, and the whole world wants to learn from your leaders, whether they're from the PAP, the opposition, or anybody else. It is with that in mind that I invited Calvin Cheng and also Senior Minister of State David Neo to my podcast, and I love to interview more people from Singapore who might be interested in having these kinds of conversations out there. I've talked with people who are very diverse, from Mahathir to KJ, to our own leader of the opposition, Lim Kit Siang, Royal Society scientists, and so many other people, as well as the 81st Lee Kuan Yew Fellow, Nick Nasmi Nick Ahmad, with whom I spoke about his Lee Kuan Yew Exchange Fellowship experience. And I think that it would be such a waste if we let the discourse and its dictates just be that we shut up and we never talk about one another's societies. It's a serious invitation, by the way, so I look forward to actually speaking to some of you out there if you are willing or if you're interested, and perhaps one day joining Singaporean society as well. Anyway, yeah, that's the PAP PAP's Cold War against Keluar Sekejap. Some fascinating times ahead. I wonder what the PAP's response is going to be. Like, will they double down? Or will they pull back? Or will they just ignore it? I'm feeling that they're going to ignore it. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get like a full-on K Shanmugam verbal assault piece, join MHAELD, ISA, detained on site type thing right there. I think it's very unlikely. And I would advise the Singaporean government, chill out bros. Like, if you really need some time to think about what's happening here and what the real problem is on the Keluar Sekejap podcast, watch it for yourself, understand the issues as they were carried out, and there you will see a mature, respectful conversation, which hopefully we can normalize across more platforms and with many more voices out there, adding to the collective color and fabric of our society and to our shared understanding of our region and our world. Alright, that's all to say about that, and bye.